Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts, subscribe and tap the bell icon. The wine glass slipped from her hand. It hit the marble floor. It shattered. Sharp edges scattered near her feet. Maya didn't blink. Her fingers stayed stiff. Her hand hung mid-air. She heard the sound of breaking glass. But it didn't feel real. Every eye turned to her. The music didn't stop, but no one heard it now. The chatter froze. The laughter died. Conversations broke off mid-sentence. All eyes moved from the broken glass, to her, and then to the man standing at the entrance. He wasn't supposed to be here. Not tonight. He wasn't even in the country, as far as they knew. But he stood there. Just inside the door. Quiet. Still. Watching. His name was Arman. Most people in that room had only seen him in photos. Some had never met him at all. But every single one of them had talked about him. And all of them had mocked his wife. Maya didn't know what shocked them more, his presence or his timing. Someone coughed. Another person dropped their fork. No one dared to speak. Aunt Neelam leaned close to her husband. "That's him," she said under her breath. "That's the one." Cousin Priya tried to sound casual. "Didn't they say he was managing a business event in Dubai?" Maya heard them. But she didn't turn. Her eyes were fixed on him. She didn't know whether to breathe or not. He looked straight at her. Not at the broken glass. Not at the guests. Not at the waiters standing awkwardly by the buffet table. Just her. Her eyes filled. But not with tears. Not with fear. Not even with relief. Something else. Her body stood frozen. Her heart pounded. She had stood there all evening, invisible to them. Hours earlier, she had walked into the house like a helper. She had unpacked the serving dishes. She had arranged the flowers herself when the decorators got the order wrong. She had helped the driver lift the heavy crates of soda and juice. No one thanked her. They didn't even greet her properly. They barely looked her in the eye. Her dress was plain. She wore no makeup. Her hair was tied back in a simple braid. Her sandals had a worn strap. She was the wife of a billionaire. But they treated her like an outsider. They didn't whisper their insults. They said them out loud. Knowing she heard every word. "She dresses like a widow," someone had laughed. "She's so plain. No wonder she hides from society. He must have married her out of guilt, not love." Maya had smiled. She had served them food. She had complimented their outfits. She had done everything a good wife was supposed to do. Until now. Now everything had changed. Arman walked into the room. Not fast. Not slow. His steps were firm. Quiet. Measured. He didn't need an introduction. The tension rose with every footstep. People moved aside. They pretended to fix their saris, pick up napkins, sip their drinks. But their eyes stayed glued to him. He reached her. He looked at her hand. Then at the broken glass. Then, softly, he took her hand in his. The room held its breath. His voice was low. Calm. But clear. "What did they say to you?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. He turned. He faced the crowd. His eyes scanned the room. Cold. Controlled. "I came here for a family event," he said. "I was told it would be a celebration." No one replied. "But instead I walk in," he said, "and I see my wife standing alone. Shaking. In a room full of people who claimed to be her family." A ripple of tension ran through the hall. He kept his gaze steady. "Who insulted my wife?" he asked. "I want one person to step forward." No one moved. A few looked down. Some stared at the wall. Some turned their backs, pretending they hadn't heard him. He let the silence stretch. Then he spoke again. "You all laughed at her," he said. "You joked about her dress. Her hair. Her simplicity." He paused. "But you forgot something." Aunt Neelam tried to interrupt. "It was just light teasing." "No," he said sharply. "Don't lie." She went quiet. He stepped forward. His voice stayed calm. "You forgot who she is." They waited. "She's the only reason I survived." They blinked. Confused. He didn't explain. "She's the only person I trust with my life." His eyes moved from one face to another. "You wear gold. You carry designer bags. You post filtered photos and throw big parties. But none of you know what real worth looks like." A few guests walked quietly to the side, embarrassed. Maya didn't move. Her heart raced faster. He wasn't done. "She's simple," he said. "But she's stronger than all of you combined." No one clapped. No one smiled. They just watched. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His expression changed. His body stiffened. He turned to Maya. "We need to leave." She looked at him. "Why?" He took her hand. "I'll explain outside." She hesitated. Her legs felt weak. He led her out. No goodbye. No smile. No apology. As they reached the porch, she saw a black SUV. It wasn't their usual driver. A man stepped out. Dark suit. Clean shave. No emotion. He opened the door. Maya turned to her husband. "Tell me what's going on." He didn't answer. He helped her in. Then followed. The door shut. The car pulled away. Maya stared at him. He looked ahead. Then finally said, "They were watching the house." Her voice shook. "Who?" "I don't know yet," he said. "But they've been tracking your movements. They knew you'd be at that party." She felt her stomach twist. "You're in danger," he said. She went silent. He looked at her. "I should have told you sooner." She whispered, "Why now?" He paused. Then said, "Someone at that party is working with them." Her throat went dry. She turned to the window. Her mind raced. They drove in silence for minutes. Finally, he said, "We're not going home. Not tonight." She looked at him. "Where are we going?" "To a place no one knows." She nodded. But her heart didn't slow down. In her mind, the night replayed. The glass. The eyes. The whispers. The warning. Something felt bigger than betrayal. Bigger than insult. She wasn't just mocked. She was being watched. And someone wanted her gone. The car sped through the darkened streets, tires humming against the pavement. Outside, the city lights flickered by like distant stars. Maya felt a chill, but it wasn't from the cold. It was something deeper. The weight of everything that had happened pressed against her chest, like a constant throb. She couldn't stop thinking about the faces back at the party, the laughter, the sneers, the whispers. Her thoughts swirled in a haze, each one making her feel smaller. She hadn't even realized how much she had been holding in until Armand spoke. "We're almost there," he said, his voice quiet, steady. Maya looked over at him, but he kept his eyes on the road. She studied his face, trying to find something, anything, that would give her clarity. But all she saw was tension. His jaw was clenched, his grip on the steering wheel tight. He wasn't the same man she had married. Not tonight. Tell me what's happening, she whispered, her voice shaking. He didn't look at her. His gaze stayed fixed ahead. There's a lot more going on than I thought, he said after a long pause. The people you met tonight, they're not who they say they are. They've been playing a game for a long time. Maya's stomach turned. What game? Who are they? People you trust, he said. People who look like they've got everything. But they don't. They're hiding something. And now, they're after you. Her heart skipped. Me? Why me? He took a deep breath, then finally turned his head toward her. Because of your past. And because of me. The words hit her like a slap in the face. Her past? She had never been one to hide it, but she didn't think anyone cared enough to dig deeper. She wasn't rich. She didn't have any grand family history or secrets. She was just a simple woman, raised by hard-working parents, doing her best to keep her life together. And then there was Armand. Her billionaire husband. The man who had turned her world upside down when they met. She remembered the first time they spoke, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. She had never felt that before, truly seen, truly heard. But now, as the car wound its way through the city, she wondered if she really knew him at all. What do you mean, because of you? Maya's voice trembled as she spoke. Armand's grip on the wheel tightened again, his knuckles going white. I'm not just a businessman, he said, his voice tight. There are things about me, things I've done, that I've never told you. Things that have caught up with us. Her heart raced. What things? What have you done? Armand glanced at her, his eyes flicking to her face before quickly turning back to the road. I never wanted you to know about this side of my life. I wanted to protect you. But now, I have no choice. He paused. The silence hung heavy between them. It was like the air itself was waiting for him to speak. I come from a family of power and influence, he finally said. But not the kind you think. My father wasn't just a businessman. He was involved in a lot of unsavory dealings. I spent years distancing myself from it all, but I wasn't able to escape completely. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. This wasn't the Armand she knew. The man she had married was kind, thoughtful, generous. He wasn't the type to be involved in anything shady. What kind of dealings? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Armand didn't answer right away. He kept his eyes on the road, but his jaw twitched. I got out. I cut ties. I focused on building my business. I wanted to be someone you could be proud of, Maya. But the past doesn't let go easily. Maya's thoughts scrambled. Her mind raced back to the party, the laughter, the insults. Was that just the surface of something much darker? So, these people, they know about your past? Armand nodded slowly. They know about my family's connections. And they know that I've been trying to distance myself from all of it. But now, they've found a way to use you against me. Maya's heart skipped a beat. Use me? Armand exhaled sharply. They've been watching us for a while, Maya. Watching you. They knew I'd be at the party tonight. They knew you'd be there, too. Her chest tightened. She reached for his hand, but he pulled it away before she could touch him. It was the first time in their marriage that he had felt so distant. Who are these people? She asked again, her voice a little louder this time. What do they want from me? He hesitated before answering. I don't know. But I have an idea. I think they want something from me. And I think they're willing to do anything to get it. Maya swallowed hard. But why me? Why not just go after you directly? He glanced at her again. Because you're the weakness they think they can exploit. They know I'll do anything to protect you. Her mind spun. She didn't understand. How could she possibly be a target in all this? Who are they? She pressed. Armand's eyes darkened, and for a moment, he looked like a man who had seen too much. I'll tell you everything. Just not tonight. Maya wanted to push further, but she could tell he wasn't ready to say more. The tension in the car was suffocating, and she knew this wasn't just about her. This was about a world she didn't know. A world that was threatening to swallow her whole. As the car continued to speed through the city, Maya glanced out the window, trying to make sense of it all. The streets were familiar, but everything felt different now. She wasn't the same woman who had walked into that party just hours ago. She wasn't the same woman who had lived her life in the shadows of Armand's wealth, wondering if she fit into his world. She was someone else now. Someone with a target on her back. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the car turned down a narrow street, and Armand slowed to a stop. The vehicle came to a smooth halt in front of a high, gated property, hidden behind tall hedges. The kind of place that felt too secretive, too closed off from the world. Maya's stomach churned as she looked at the mansion. Where are we? This is where we're staying, Armand said, his tone flat. The door opened before she could ask any more questions. A man stepped inside the car, his face unreadable. Armand turned to Maya. Get out. We're going inside. You need to be safe. Safe. She had never felt more exposed. The house was massive. Maya couldn't help but stare at it as she stepped out of the car. The gates closed behind them, the thick metal clanging shut with an eerie finality. It felt like she had just entered a different world, a world that didn't belong to her. Armand led her inside without saying another word. She didn't even know if she should ask more questions. His silence made her feel like there was something he wasn't telling her. She had already learned that much. But tonight, she wasn't sure she wanted to know everything. The mansion was modern yet cold. The walls were lined with art she didn't understand, the floors polished to a mirror-like shine. It felt empty, despite the obvious wealth and luxury. Maya could see how much thought had been put into it, but there was something off about the place, like it wasn't meant for living, it was meant for hiding. She followed him through the large, silent hallways, their footsteps echoing as they moved deeper into the house. Each door they passed seemed to lead to a room that only held more mystery. But the more she tried to pay attention, the more her mind kept wandering back to what Armand had said earlier. Who were these people after them? And why was her husband so determined to keep everything a secret? Finally, they stopped at a large door at the end of a long hallway. Armand turned to her, his expression still unreadable. This is where you'll be staying, he said, pushing the door open. Inside, a spacious bedroom awaited her. The bed was large, the sheets smooth and pristine. There were no personal touches, nothing to suggest that anyone lived here, just an emptiness that mirrored the house outside. I don't want to be here, Maya whispered, her voice trembling. I don't understand any of this. Armand's eyes softened, but his jaw remained tight. I know it's not ideal, Maya. But it's for your safety. They're after you. And I need to figure out who they are before they get any closer. Her mind swirled with questions, but she couldn't form the words. The weight of everything felt suffocating. She felt so out of place. And yet, something in her gut told her this was only the beginning of something much bigger. Armand stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I thought I could protect you from all of this. But now, he paused, taking a breath. Now I need your trust more than ever. Maya stared at him, seeing the exhaustion in his eyes, the strain in his posture. She had never seen him like this before. He was the man who always had everything together. But now? He seemed as lost as she was. "Who are these people, Armand?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to a desk across the room and pulled out a folder. He opened it carefully, then walked over to her. He handed her a set of photographs, clear, detailed pictures of people she didn't recognize. "These are the people I think are behind everything," he said, his voice quiet. "They've been following us for months." Maya's hands shook as she took the photos. Her eyes scanned the images. One photo showed a man with slicked back hair, dressed in an expensive suit. Another picture was of a woman, tall, dark-haired, her eyes cold and calculating. The last photo was of a group of people in a conference room, all dressed in business attire. There was something chilling about their smiles. "They look like they're just normal people," Maya said, trying to make sense of it all. "What are they? Who are they?" Armand shook his head, looking frustrated. "They're not normal. They're part of a group that operates in the shadows. They've been in business for decades, and their reach extends into places you wouldn't even believe." Maya frowned, still confused. "But what do they want with me?" He leaned against the desk, running a hand through his hair. "They want leverage. They want something from me, and they think you're the key to getting it." She looked down at the photos, her mind racing. "What could they want from you? You've done nothing wrong." Armand's eyes darkened. "I thought I had left all that behind. But my past isn't so easy to escape." The air between them thickened, the tension hanging heavy in the room. Maya felt the weight of his words. The world she had known, simple, predictable, was slipping away. And all at once, she was trapped in a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. The door to the room opened abruptly, and Maya startled, her hand instinctively moving to her chest. A tall man stepped inside, his presence immediately commanding the space. He was dressed in a dark suit, his face serious. He didn't even look at Maya as he addressed Armand. "We have a problem," the man said, his voice low but urgent. "They're closer than we thought." Armand's face hardened. "What do you mean, closer?" The man leaned against the doorframe. "They've already infiltrated your company. And now, they're starting to make moves against you directly. We need to act fast." Maya's stomach sank. "What's going on, Armand? Who is he?" "This is Raghav," Armand said, his eyes never leaving the man. "He's been helping me deal with the fallout from the past." Raghav nodded at Maya but didn't offer any words of comfort. "You should stay here for now," he said to her, his voice flat. "It's safer." Maya wanted to argue, to ask more questions, but she was too overwhelmed. Everything was happening so quickly. It felt like a whirlwind, and she was caught in the middle. Armand turned to Raghav. "What's the plan?" Raghav crossed his arms. "We'll need to move fast. We can't let them get any closer." Maya felt her breath catch in her throat. She had no idea what they were talking about, but she understood one thing clearly: things were about to escalate. The door shut behind Raghav as he left, leaving Armand and Maya alone again. The silence between them stretched long and uncomfortable. Maya turned to Armand, her eyes searching his face. "What are we supposed to do now?" Armand looked at her, his eyes dark. "We wait. We figure out who they are. We make our next move carefully." Her heart raced. She had never been good at waiting. And right now, every minute felt like an eternity. But just as she was about to ask more questions, a loud noise echoed from the hallway outside. It was followed by hurried footsteps. Then the door to her room slammed open. "Maya," a voice called urgently. She spun around, heart leaping into her throat. It was Raghav. His face was pale, his eyes wide with panic. "They're here," he said, breathless. "They've found us." The room was plunged into chaos. Maya stood frozen, her heart hammering in her chest as Raghav's words hung heavy in the air. "They're here." His voice was filled with urgency, his face pale. "We have no time. We need to move." Arman shot to his feet, his eyes wild with panic. "What do you mean, they've found us? How did they get in?" Raghav's breath came in quick gasps, and his hand trembled as he held the doorframe for support. "They've been planning this for a long time. We thought we had more time, but," he stopped, his voice faltering. "We're compromised." Maya's mind raced, her body tingling with a mix of fear and confusion. Everything had escalated so quickly. Just hours ago, she was sitting at a party, laughing with friends, oblivious to the danger lurking in the shadows. Now, she was trapped in a mansion, with unknown enemies closing in. Arman moved toward the window, pulling the curtains back just enough to peek outside. His expression darkened when he saw what was waiting for them. "We have no choice. We have to leave, now." He turned to Raghav, his voice strained. "Do you have a way out? A secure route?" Raghav nodded quickly, his eyes scanning the room, calculating every move. "Follow me. We'll go through the basement. It's the only way." Maya's legs felt like jelly as she followed them down the dark corridor, her mind whirling with questions. Who were these people? What did they want from them? And why had Arman kept so much from her? The basement door opened with a soft creak. Raghav led the way, stepping down into the shadows. Arman followed closely behind, with Maya just a few steps behind him. The basement was colder than the rest of the house, the air damp and thick with the smell of dust. The dim light from the overhead bulb cast long, eerie shadows on the walls. Maya's skin crawled as they walked deeper into the space, her senses on high alert. "What is this place?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. "An old storage area," Raghav replied, glancing over his shoulder. "No one knows about it. It's our best option right now." They moved swiftly, the only sound the shuffle of their footsteps on the concrete floor. Maya's mind was spinning. She couldn't focus on anything except the feeling that they were being hunted. She had never been afraid of anything like this before, this constant, creeping dread that seemed to follow her everywhere she went. They reached a heavy steel door at the far end of the basement. Raghav pulled out a key from his pocket and unlocked it, revealing a narrow passage beyond. "Through here," he instructed, his voice tense. Maya hesitated for only a moment before following them through the passage. The space was tight, and the walls seemed to close in on her. The further they went, the more she felt the weight of everything pressing down on her. They emerged into a small, underground garage, where an SUV was parked. The engine was already running. "Get in," Raghav ordered, opening the door for them. Maya didn't need to be told twice. She slid into the back seat, her hands clammy with nervous energy. Arman got in next to her, and Raghav slid into the driver's seat. The garage door rolled up slowly, and Raghav floored the gas pedal as they sped out into the night. The car cut through the streets like a shadow, weaving through traffic, taking turns with speed and precision. Maya stared out the window, her mind racing. "What's happening, Arman?" she finally asked, her voice low. "Who are these people? Why didn't you tell me?" Arman's jaw clenched. He was silent for a moment before speaking. "I wanted to protect you, Maya. From all of this. From the truth." Maya's breath caught in her throat. "The truth?" He met her gaze, his eyes haunted. "You asked me earlier who they were. What they wanted. The answer is simple, they're after power. And the key to that power is me. Or rather, it's something I have that they want." Maya's stomach dropped. "What is it?" Arman hesitated, his eyes flicking to Raghav, who kept his focus on the road ahead. It's not something I've shared with anyone. Not even you. Why? What is it? Maya pressed, her voice shaking. It's a project, Armand finally said. A project I inherited from my father. It's something that could change everything. Control over vast resources, connections with the highest levels of government and business. Even the ability to reshape entire industries. Maya was speechless. You have that kind of power? Armand nodded slowly. Yes. But it's not just about power. It's about what it can do to the world. My father built it with one purpose in mind, to dominate. To take control. And I've been trying to distance myself from it for years. Maya's mind struggled to comprehend what he was saying. She had married a man who, in her eyes, had been nothing but kind, generous, and loving. She had never once suspected he carried such a dark secret. A secret so powerful it could destroy everything. So these people, they want this project, Maya said slowly. They want it, Armand confirmed, his voice tight. They'll stop at nothing to get it. And they'll use anyone they can to get it. Raghav turned sharply onto a side road, his eyes glancing quickly in the rearview mirror. We're almost there. We need to keep moving. The car picked up speed, and the night seemed to blur outside the window. Maya tried to piece everything together, but it felt like too much to process. But then, a thought hit her like a bolt of lightning. Wait, she said, her voice rising with panic. You said they wanted leverage. And you said I was the key. But why? Why me? I don't have anything to do with any of this. Armand's eyes shifted uncomfortably, his grip on the armrest tightening. It's because of your past. You don't know it, but you're connected to all of this. Your family, your father, he had dealings with my father. He was part of the project. Maya froze. What? My father? Armand nodded, his expression pained. I didn't want you to know, Maya. I didn't want to bring you into this. But the truth is, your family has been tied to all of this for years. Maya's world tilted. She felt like the ground had shifted beneath her feet. Her father? The man she thought was just a simple, hard-working man? How could he be involved in something so dark? Something that had put her in the crosshairs of dangerous people? Raghav glanced at them, his face tense. We need to get to the safe house. It's the only place we can lay low. Maya didn't know what to think anymore. The man she had married, the man she had trusted more than anyone, had been hiding this. And now, she was part of a world she didn't understand. A world of power, secrets, and betrayal. She looked out the window, her mind numb. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about something much bigger. Something that had been set in motion long before she ever met Armand. And as the car sped toward the unknown, Maya knew one thing for certain: the truth was more dangerous than she had ever imagined.